podcast. My guest today is Ellie from Fenlon Interiors, and we are going to discuss everything you need to know about getting started in the interior business, social media, masterclasses. There's nothing this girl doesn't do. Thank you, Ellie, for being a guest.
Thanks for having me. That was such a nice intro. I was like, ooh.
Oh, that's me. Basically, what I think is so important for our listeners is to find out, how did you get started? So if I'm a young person, I love interior design. I've got, multiple Pinterest boards on the go, a collage, I love to do my room up. What's the next step? So I have, thinking about doing GCSEs. What was your journey into interior design?
Oh, wow. Going back, what's disgusting, I think I haven't been in school for that long, but when I say it, it sounds crazy, 9 years ago. That's scary. I know.
9 now.
Just mad. But if I could go back in time, I definitely wouldn't change anything. So I'd probably starting off, if you're interested in anything, it doesn't even have to be interiors, I would suggest, especially this day and age, getting a social media platform, whether that's Instagram, Pinterest, obviously if you're of age, TikTok, YouTube, whatever that may be, and just start your passion, especially with now the future and things like that. I think that's definitely where to start. And I didn't start mine till I was 19, so 6 years ago now. So that's how long I've been running my social platform. I'd definitely say if you are doing your GCSEs, maybe pick subjects that are relevant. But I don't think it necessarily matters, especially if you've got a passion, because I didn't do interior design as a GCSE or even
you at college.
Oh yeah,
if
that was an option, yeah. I feel like you're very limited on creative subjects now, which is quite sad.
Really sad.
But you can do it. You don't have to do it through school. You can do it from outside of school, and definitely work experience is great as well. I used to do that when I was 16. They wanted you to do work experience, and I picked an interior design studio in town. That was called Elaine Cunningham Interiors at the time. That was years ago, but that was the only interior place in Liverpool. And my friends were like, "That's a bit of a mad choice." Everyone was just picking receptionists or things like that. And I was like, "No, I need to find an interior designer that will take me on." And I've never looked back. It was the best thing I could have done.
So what GCSEs did you do? Art? What else did you do?
Oh gosh, I don't even know.
Was it just art? What did you go on to? Well, what did you do after your GCSEs? Did you go to
I did sixth form, yeah. Okay. I did art then. What else did I do? Business.
Okay.
And I loved business. I ended up doing that as a degree.
So interesting. So you've got your degree is actually in business, not anything creative.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But I'm glad. Although I did enjoy uni, I probably wouldn't say it's a necessary. I wouldn't put pressure on yourself to think university is the way forward. And if I could do my time again, maybe I wouldn't have. But I feel like you are pushed into that path, which is fine. And for a lot of people, especially if you're doctor, dentist, whatever, you do need a degree, and I totally understand that. But I feel like I've learnt more now doing it myself than I ever did in 3 years university.
Are you talking from a business point of view, or are you talking from a creative point of view?
Everything, yeah. Right, I think if you're willing and you've got a passion for something, no one can tell you no. In anything you do, you can do anything. And I've truly believed that since doing it on my own. If you've got a passion and it's not a GCSE and it's not an A-level option and it's not even a degree, don't care. Just still go for it. Don't think, oh no, it's the end of the world. It's definitely not. If anything, it's the future. Do you know what I mean?
I think every person we speak to, so all of the female entrepreneurs that we have in the podcast, they've all built up this level of resilience. Now, resilience, I think, comes from starting and failing and starting and failing in your own business.
Yeah.
Because you've got that mindset of just go for it.
Yeah.
Whereas that's a mindset that you've probably created from going for it. Things have worked, things haven't worked, things have been really successful, and now you're on that journey. But it's a mindset that you create for yourself, isn't it? Just go for it.
Definitely.
Just try it. So if you go back to when you finished your degree, were you thinking about going into business at that point, or were you thinking you wanted to go more creative? Which route were you going to go for?
If I'm being honest, I feel like me head was telling me, get the 9 to 5, get the stable job. That's what you've done the degree for. Get the good paycheck, get your one holiday a year. I don't know. That's what you're sort of going towards. I'd worked all my life. I'd really worked hard for my GCSEs, I'd worked hard for the A-levels, worked hard for the degree, and I got out of university and I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? I just literally had this moment where I was and then the pandemic literally happened months later, and I was like, I do not know what I'm doing. And then without me realising, it was probably the best thing that could have happened, having that time out, realising I like social media then was like, wow, like that's all you could do.
Yeah.
You'd work from home, you'd scroll on whatever, TikTok came about.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, it's the best thing. And at the time, I worked in Home Sense for like 6 years. And after the pandemic, I was like, I can't work in retail anymore. And I loved the job being like the merchandising. It got me.
Oh, so that's what you were in merchandiser?
Yeah, a visual merchandiser. Whilst I was studying. And I absolutely loved that, but I just knew that I was meant for more. And I thought, the worst thing that could happen, and I say this to everyone, the worst thing, if you make a wrong decision, there is always a fallback option. Like, it's never the end of the world. And leaving that job, I was like, what's the worst that could happen? I have to say, can I have my job back? Do you know what I mean? And okay, it's a little bit of an ego, like,
yeah.
But at the end of the day, that is literally the worst thing in anything you do. You know, funny story, I went on to university, I wanted to do, like, maths as a degree. So I wanted to do maths as an A-level and I couldn't handle it. 3 weeks in, I was going home sobbing and I was distraught. I was like to my mum, I want to do maths in uni, just as like a security thing, I wasn't even going to do anything with it. I wanted to be an interior designer, I'd always had, but I thought I need to do maths, and because I enjoyed maths and thought I'm good at maths, I need to, you know, and I was thinking, oh, an accountant, they ain't got money, and I was like, that's not where my heart was, but I thought, and 3 weeks in, I was like, I can't do this course, and went to the teacher, I was like, I can't do this, literally broke down, and I felt like, it sounds mad, but in my head, like, you have this idea of your future, and that one building block, because I felt like everything had collapsed in front of me. I was like, I've got no idea. I just felt like everything had like gone wrong, and I was just like, oh my god. And then I was like, I loved like the idea of business, and I was thinking, well, if I would like my own interior firm, business probably would be good. So I went to the business teacher and I pleaded with him. I was like, please let me on. And he was like, you've already got 3 options. I was like, no, I need to do this. Like, you don't understand. So he was like, okay, let me look at your grades and that from last year. And he was like, yeah, I'll take you. And literally, I can't thank Mr. Wynn if you're listening to this. Big shout out. But honestly, I was like, oh my god, I was made up. And then I ended up doing really well in me A-levels and then doing it as a degree. And
so
I think
did you drop maths?
I dropped maths, yeah.
So you were able to swap from maths to the
business. Loved it. So that was my favourite subject. I loved it. And I got to like start my own interior thing, and it just got me into it. Then I was like, this is what I'm made to do. And then did the business degree, which actually helped me because the teacher said to me, what are you doing? Like, what's your passion? And I was like, interior design. And he literally did a module on like social media. And he was like, everyone in here, if you've got a passion and you want to start a business, if you haven't got a social media, then you're daft. You're really stupid. And
so
I was like,
talk about that in university?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
So I was like, what, did you go 19 when you're at uni? So I was 19. Yeah. And I went on holiday in that summer and I was just thinking about what he was saying, and I thought, I'm going to have to start it. So like, I sort of went, I didn't go undercover. It was called Fenlon Interiors. But if anyone asked me, I was like, that's not my page. Like, I was like dead embarrassed because at the time, it wasn't something like you did. Like now it's like the norm. Yeah. But I was like, I'm 19, I've got a home account, I haven't got my own house. It looks a bit, do you know what I mean? And yeah, it was the best thing I ever done. So that was like when I was 9, like 6 years ago now, yeah.
So that's when the social media, almost like your brand, Ellie Interiors, started 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Now the joy about that is, to touch on that, is you can start your own brand on social media, which really costs nothing. No, so how much did that cost you to start that business?
£0.
Zero debt, £0. You did it from your own house. Yeah. You didn't have to take on any officers. You started your own brand in your bedroom, in your house. And look what it's grown to now. So how many different platforms do you use at the moment? So we're talking obviously about Instagram. Yeah. Then you've got...
So I've got all sorts. I don't know how to keep up. I've got Instagram, I've got TikTok, I've got YouTube, I've got Pinterest, and then I've also got a podcast as well.
Which one's your favourite platform?
Do you know what's mad? TikTok, but I was like totally against it. Like in lockdown, everyone was getting it and like doing dances, and everyone was like, get TikTok. I was like, no, I'll get addicted to it, and it's really silly. Like that was proper closed mindset, and I got it like last April, was it only?
Really?
And my page has grew insanely quick. Like, I've had Instagram for 6 years and I've nearly hit 20k, but that's been it's hard, it's been a slog. Yeah. And then my TikTok's on 42k now, and in the first year it like blew to like 20 something k, and I was like, wow, I wish I'd done this in lockdown. I'd be fine.
So TikTok for you is obviously not dancing, you know,
No.
it's really inspired by, you do obviously hauls. What do people really react well to? Obviously, you're a very, like, I like to talk to camera, I'm dead comfortable doing it, you know, talking about clothes and things like that. You're very much the same.
Yeah.
You're super comfortable talking to the camera.
Yeah.
So obviously people can relate to you. That's a face to the business as well. So
Yeah.
you're really comfortable doing that. What do people like most on TikTok? What gets you the most reactions?
Just about that, actually, whilst you've said it, about like your face being your brand, I think that's so important as well. I think confidence, starting whatever, is a main, like, something you've got to have, which you can develop. Like, don't think you can't, because I
totally
like,
agree.
looking back, I would never have believed I would have my face in anything. Do you know what I mean? So I think definitely, if you are wanting to start something on social media, I think your face of your brand is so important. Like, I'm more inclined to follow someone whose face is on it, because I don't know whether it's just like Scousers, but I like buy into people. Yeah. Like, they could sell me anything. I'd be like, oh my God, Scouser, they talk about this. Sign me up. Like, do you know what I mean? Yeah. I think that, but
I think it's so true. I think people love a brand. They're loyal to that person. They're invested in that person's journey. You're talking to them. Yeah. So when you're talking to the camera, they feel like you're talking, having that conversation. Yeah. And going back to lockdown, that was very important to people.
Definitely.
You know, people, if you look at your Stacey Solomon, they've just gone through the roof because it's that personal one. You feel like it's one-to-one, like you're in the room with them.
No, really. Like, when I meet people and they say, oh my God, I follow you, it's like, I know you already. I'm like, that's crazy. It's like, because you share so much. Well, you say that, but obviously you only share so much. But yeah, with the TikTok, I do all sorts, you know. I do like home interior dupes, which is a huge one at the minute. Where like, I'm really like on the ball with like, I love home interiors, I love designer stuff. Obviously, not willing to pay the price just yet. But if I can find a dupe, I'll like showcase it, and everyone goes mad for that, because, you know, everyone wants a bargain, don't they? And then I do show home tours, new in products in shops, hauls, you name it, anything to do with interiors, I'm there, I'll be there.
And people love it all. People get excited by it all. Because obviously I've seen that you've been invited in by big stores to go and have a look at products. Yeah. How amazing is that?
No, I know.
So it's huge crazy. Stores. Do they email, get in touch? They say, we obviously love what you do.
Yeah, so...
That's incredible.
It's mad. I've been working with, like, Home and Bargain, which obviously is local, which is amazing. George, at Asda, Primark Home. It's actually, saying that, I get quite emotional, so it's crazy, because, like, I know how far I've come in my own personal journey, and, like, networking's been, like, huge, but, like...
Okay. We'll just stop you there. So if we're talking to young people, we can use the word networking. How would you describe what's networking?
Yeah, that's true, actually, because when I was younger, I was like, wow, that sounds such a sophisticated word. Like, they'd be like, we've got a networking event tonight, and I'd be like, don't know what that is, but sign me up.
I'll go.
I feel like networking is literally just talking to people. Like, it's so simple, like... going to an event, saying, okay, it might be free, it might be in London. There's been times that I've been to London, there and back, for days, just to open doors. Like, I'm in London now, like, twice a month, and I love it. Networking, getting invited by brands, and that's only because I've put myself out there. If you're not willing to put yourself out there, it might... I think people are like, oh, it might cost me something. Yeah, it might cost you your time, it might cost you your train ticket, but what are you going to do? Like, probably go out at the weekend, or, you know, spend it on toys, your pocket money, you know, do you know what I mean? Like, like, your money is so important to your future, like, in an investment sense. So, like, networking, there's loads of events in Liverpool, there's loads of women in business, you know, DM me. I've had loads of young girls who I'm honoured, like, who were even 16, message me and be like, hi, how did you get into that? I will speak to anyone, I'll help anyone. Like, I know how hard it is, especially like messaging someone and getting blanked. You're like, it is hard, but by the way, you are more likely to get blanked than you are to get a message. But you as you said at the beginning, resilience. You need
You've got to put yourself out there to find
and I think as well, once you get momentum and you do get blanked, it's not really a big deal.
Building your confidence to be able to take it and not take it too personally. That person just could be busy, you caught them on an off day. But I think 100% the more you put yourself out there, but you could be networking with like a club. Do you know what I mean? It could be like a school club that you think, oh, I don't really want to get involved with, but I'm going to go. I might meet some new friends there. We might collaborate on our own little project. We might start our own little business together, making cushion covers. I mean, it can start as easy as that, can't it? So when we're talking about networking, obviously you and I, we're talking about businesses, professionals. However, networking can start at any age. It's just about making new friends, isn't it?
Exactly, and especially like now with a lot more apprenticeships happening. Just say yeah. because, you know, you've lost nothing. You might meet one person, you might meet someone who could, like, and you look back and go, wow, that's why I met that person.
Absolutely. I'm a great believer in that as well.
Definitely.
I think you probably are, because I can listen to the language that you use in terms of mindset and positivity.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? All about that, like, absolutely. And I think, yeah, you are meant to meet that person. So, for example, you working with the big brands now, was that scary for you, that first appointment or that first phone call or email or meeting? How did you find that?
Oh, I thought it was a hoax. I had to double check the end, because, you know, like, you can get black emails.
Oh God, like a fraud.
Yeah, I was like, this is definitely a fraud, so someone's on the wind up. But now it's just mad, because, like, as well, I'd like to touch as well, like, obviously, if there's any young girls from Liverpool, it's so hard being a woman from Liverpool. Like, I don't think you get enough credit for... I get really overwhelmed, because the opportunities, I've had loads of, like, knockbacks from my accent to, like, not being from, like, you know, the more reputable, what's it called? Reputable areas, can't even say it. Yeah. And it's like, it's a proper knockback, but do you know what? It makes me want to do it more. Like, I think, do you know what? I want to do this even more. And I think when you get these brand works, I get really emotional over it, because I know how hard I've worked, and I know, like, how many knockbacks I've had, and how many, like, you know, it's all fun and games being like, oh, it's amazing, but, like, there's tears, it's business, you know what I mean? So when you get that one, you're like, this has been so worth it. And until you get the so worth it, you realise, looking back. So, you know, if you are going through anything, like, you didn't get the grade you wanted, you're putting in the work and you're not getting the outcome, it's fine, because you'll realise, looking back, why it's all come to this. So don't give up at anything you do. I'm so passionate about that. Do you know what I mean?
No, I couldn't agree more. I think I lived in London for a little while, and they couldn't understand the accent. Obviously, I'm such a proud Scouser as well, from North Liverpool, you know, so I'm very much the same. Like, I went to a South Liverpool school, you know, where people spoke slightly different to me. So even that Liverpool, you know, people picking up on different your accent. But when you go to London, that is very different, and people will take, you know, the mick out of your accent. But again, it's that same, like, you bounce back from it, you're resilient, you know, you don't take it personally the second or third time. But it does make you work that bit harder. Yeah. Doesn't it? It does make you think, well, I've really got to prove a point to you that I'm just as good as you. Yeah. I've got just as much to offer as a person from, you know, London, or we're all here just to make an impact, really, and to achieve our goals. So, yeah, I couldn't agree more with you. I think it's a shame, really, though, isn't it? Yeah.
I'm sort of glad, though, because so I went to my very first, like, interior event in London when I was 18, went on my own.
Wow, 18.
Yeah, I was like, right, I'm getting on the train. Kelly Hoppen was there. Don't know whether I was like, oh my God, Kelly Hoppen's
Who's
there.
Kelly Hoppen? I know who she is.
Interior designer. Okay. She goes on, like, This Morning, doesn't she, and does all that. But she was like the only, like, interior designer you knew of in, like, the industry at the time. I was made up. I was like on the train to London, like, and when I got there, I loved the event. I met her. I was like starstruck. I was like, this is what I want to do, where I want to be. I was just, I've filmed everything and I've kept it, and, like, I love looking back at it, because I think I knew how I felt in that moment. If that's another thing I would say as well, film, document everything. Even just, like, how you feel, good, bad, ugly.
For yourself, rather than to share. So it's just for you, so you can look back on your own journey.
Yeah, I've got, like, a SIM card on a camera, and every time I'm having, like, a bad time, I film it of me crying. It sounds dead dramatic, but, like, I know then when I look back, I'll be like, oh, like, how far have I come? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But when I went to this event, I'd had a lovely morning, and then I started speaking to a woman, and she was like, oh, what's your accent? And I went, oh yeah, and she was like, oh yeah, you're a Scouser. And I was like, yeah. She was like, and you're in this industry? And I was like, oh no, I'm going on to uni, and you'll never make it if you're not from London. And I was like, no. But that was, like, the first time I'd sort of come out my Liverpool comfort zone into, like, the big business world. And I was like, oh my God, like, Mum, I didn't know what to do. Like, I was on my own, and I was like, oh, I felt like dead took her back, because I was thinking, oh, am I not going to amount to anything? No. But then I thought, oh, sorry, no, I don't like that. So I went in. I was like, Mum, this woman. She was like, oh, ignore it, you know what they're all like. And then I literally just was like, right, that's it. I'm flying.
It's a real,
through.
like, Pretty Woman moment.
Yeah.
You can't afford anything in it. Watch.
No. I wish I got that person's name, because I'd fully do it, like, TikTok, like, remember me.
That is so true. She said to you, you'd never make it.
Yeah. But I'm glad about it.
Yeah.
It sounds mad, but
no, I can understand that.
It pushes you, doesn't it?
To prove.
Yeah.
To prove. I think the thing is, obviously we come from a great, amazing big city, but people who come from small towns that go into big cities, like it's that feeling of like, I'm in this safe, secure bubble of Liverpool.
Yeah.
I know everybody, you know, everything's okay. And then you take that step out, whether it's to London, whether it's to, you know, somewhere in Europe, America, wherever you're going to go on that next step of your journey, it is that like,
yeah, daunting.
It's scary because you feel like you're going out there on your own. You're a big fish in a small pond up here, and then you go to London. I did exactly the same thing, and it was like scary.
Yeah.
But you know, obviously, you've come out of it so strong now,
Yeah.
and it didn't affect you or your journey, did
No,
it? Absolutely not.
No.
So what's next for you? Obviously, we've touched on all these amazing social media platforms that you manage. You're working with big brands now, which is incredible. You've got a masterclass.
Yeah.
So what's a Fenlon? Would it be Fenlon Interiors masterclass?
Yeah, so it's a styling masterclass. So to be honest, it's aimed at like anyone. Like, so when we were in lockdown, I realised like people weren't like not in love with their homes, but people realised how much their home was and what it meant and the importance of it, and I really felt that, and I loved that people started getting involved in my page, interior itself. So I know that people don't have big budgets for interior designers, and to be honest, that's why I've edged away from it, because that's not me. I want to be like more for the everyday person. I want to find the bargains. I want to teach you how to style. So a lot of people always ask me questions like, how do you do that? How do you do that? So I'm like, why not enter my brain for a few hours? So I'm basically going to like teach you how to style. So whether you're a professional and you want like them finishing touches to your project, or whether you are someone who just wants to create, like make a house a home, so to speak, do you know what I mean? Like, you just might not have a clue how to do your console units. Like, it's just those small areas of your home that really make it that extra bit like fine line and professional. Like, it's like when you go into a show home, that's why they look good, because they're just styled well. Like, you don't need like all these extravagant anything. You just need to know how to work the pieces that you already have. So I was really passionate about like helping other people fall in love with the home. I want people to basically love interior design as much as I love it. That's what I want to do. Yeah. So yeah, we're doing that bit of networking, like-minded people, you know, especially a few girls who are coming, I know, want to get into the industry. So them being there and also talking to people in the industry and just people who like want to fall in love with the home. So it's a really nice bunch of people, and then we're going to do like a bit of a workshop as well, just so you can get that hands-on side of things. So I'm really excited, a little bit nervous now. I'm like, oh, it's a week away. And what have I done? Imposter syndrome.
Is this your first one?
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
I know.
Wow, incredible.
I've got terrible imposter syndrome now. Just don't tell anyone.
What does imposter syndrome feel like for you? Because I think it feels different for everybody, whether it's, you know, going out to meet a new group of girls, whether it's going to a new gym class, whether it's starting, you know, a cookery class. It's putting yourself into a new situation.
Yeah, I'm okay with stuff like that. I love meeting new people. I love talking, clearly, I'm sure. I love being in like a room with new people and things. It's more, my imposter syndrome is like, probably does stem back from PTSD from that woman in London. But it's more so like, and it's normal, like, oh, who's she to start that? Who's she to host her own thing? Like,
so who's saying that? You're saying it to yourself?
Me? Yeah, it's like I'm Ellie, but like there's a smaller Ellie inside. Don't know what side she's sitting in, but it's not vibe. And like, I feel like, I don't know, it's like, I shouldn't, because whenever I've done anything after, I'm like, why did I even have them intrusive thoughts? And I feel like as women, we all go through it. And, you know, I only realised that when I like got into sort of like the more influencer content industry, there were so many, and there's so many gorgeous girls, and like I used to like question myself terrible. And, you know, I'm going to be honest, like we all do. And when you're in them environments, I'm like, oh my, what am I doing here? Like, who do I think I am? Like, I don't feel, I suppose, worthy to be in that room, and that's terrible. But when you get to speak to everyone else is feeling not worthy to be in that room. So really, we're all girls, like thinking the same things, the same intrusive thoughts, the same imposter syndrome, and we're not actually talking about it. And I think it's nice to talk about it. Like, I've got no shame in saying I've got imposter syndrome. I've got no shame in saying I don't feel worthy to be here. You know, I've got no problem in saying any of these things, because no one talks about it, especially for young girls. Like, I don't get any work done. I feel like I haven't got the Scouse aesthetic, and that's fine. Like, I don't feel like I want to get all that done. And I feel like in this industry, if you are a younger person and you feel like there's a certain look you have to aspire to look like to do anything, you shouldn't. Like, don't feel like, question who you are. It's about your heart, not about how you look.
I think that's so lovely of you to be so honest.
Yeah.
And like sharing that with me and everyone who's listening, because 100%, as you say, you know, it's not talked about enough.
Yeah.
Obviously, imposter syndrome is something that you see on social medias, but is it something you and your friend talk about?
Yeah.
Is it something you and your group of mates sit around and talk about? Do you all own up to it, or do you just see it as a phrase on Instagram or on TikTok? I think to have those intrusive thoughts of, should I be here? Who am I to do a masterclass? But at the same time, you'll get an email from Georgia Asda, which says, no, this is why you're here.
Yeah.
Like, this is why we think you're great at what you do. Or you might get somebody who says, oh my God, I styled me home after looking at 3 dupes you did, and I'm so pleased with it. And you've inspired somebody else to do it. And so it should just block all those thoughts, shouldn't it? Because you are worth so much more than those thoughts. But at the same time, everybody has them.
Yeah.
Is this going to go well? Is it going to go great? You know, I've got to give a talk today. Who am I to do it? What if I mess up? But we all make mistakes. And again, it's that strength of character, because you did the event and you're going to do the masterclass event, and it's going to be incredible. And people will say, oh my God, I loved it. And your feedback will be great, saying, oh, I went on and did this, or I've now got a little job, a side hustle, because I got, you know, a couple of tips from your class, or I met a really great girl and we're now going to do a photo shoot in a show home, whatever it is.
Yeah, no, I love that.
It's all these things that come from you just sharing your own passion and knowledge. And I think if you didn't do that, then that would be such a shame, just for the sake of those thoughts, which were like, who are you doing this?
No, I know.
So if you can push them to the back and say, right, okay, you're here, I've heard it,
yeah,
we're doing the masterclass and it's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
You know, like it's that, overcoming that, isn't it?
Yeah, that Roxy Nafusky wrote Manifest.
Yes.
That is exactly what she speaks about, like, just being like, hi, I've acknowledged you, move to the back, because I'm coming through.
Do it anyway. Yeah. It's going to happen. Yeah. I've signed up, I've sold tickets, people are coming.
Yeah, no, really.
I've got to do it.
Yeah.
Do you know, so I think that applies to anything that you put yourself forward for, whether you're a young person listening to it now and saying, I've got this school talk or a debate or whatever it is, you're just going to have to do it.
Yeah.
Feel the fear and do it anyway.
No, really,
like,
you'll come out your comfort zone as well. And you feel so good doing something that you were terrified to do after. Like, that adrenaline, like, that you get is overrun for days, and you think, I'm so glad I done that.
Yeah. Like, I bet you after your masterclass, you're not going to be able to sleep. You're going to come home and you're going to be like,
I'm going to be on cloud 9. Yeah, 100%.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So what would be the dream for you going forward? So we've got these beautiful things that we've all, you know, everything's set up, everything's going fabulously. What would be the dream for you? What would you love to do? Would it
feel like I'm in it now, which is lovely. I don't feel like that is a dream, because I'm living the dream every day, which is amazing. Like, to be doing what you love every day is like something else. Like, to be in that position is, I'm always so grateful, and I've worked so hard to be in that. So I think it's just continuing to do what I do, like in the content space, working with even bigger brands, like just continually doing in the like interior space, like show homes, I love that side, and then building my podcast, maybe more masterclasses, maybe more outside of Liverpool, because I know a lot of people who follow me are from Liverpool, and just like be known for what I do and like inspire others. Like, as you were saying before, if someone messages me and says like, oh, I've styled this because of you, that makes my day. Like, it's not about like the however many followers. If one person from my video buys something, styles, it feels amazing, or follows me and I make the day. Like, I post stupid stuff sometimes in my life, and then people message me and go, thank you so much for posting that. Like, the way I've just spoke before about like how I've looked and things, I've done YouTube videos being really open about stuff like that, because I've watched videos in the past and seen that, and it's touched me, because I'm thinking, oh, I'm not the only one. So to be an inspiration to others for whatever that may be is probably, that's what makes everything worthwhile.
I love that. I think this is so interesting, because obviously you're a lot younger than me, and your grasp of like social media, and the young people now, they do talk about the positive and the negative a lot more, and people are more vocal about the feelings. And I think it's so great that you are discussing the amazing times, the hauls, you know, working with big brands, but also the times where you felt really low, or you felt like you were struggling. Yeah. So maybe that's what younger people now can talk about, the feelings a little bit more, do you think?
Yeah, I think, but I don't think it's like talked on enough.
Okay.
But I don't know whether that'll just be something that comes with time, being, you know, you are so exposed to social media that you don't want to put something out there that could potentially not harm you, but like the way you feel about something, like exposing yourself in a very raw way. But I'm quite used to it, you see, because I've done it for that long. Like, people are like, oh, what if someone says that? And I'm like, well, they have. I said, but if you're not my friend, it can't hurt me. That's just my outlook on it, because they don't know you well enough to say something They don't.
Have you found that because you've got all of these platforms, have you found that you've ever struggled with anybody who's been sort of said something which is very nice?
Oh yeah, I get it all the time, which is
it more TikTok?
Oh, TikTok every day, but that's
really?
funny. That's funny.
This is why I'm not on TikTok.
Yeah, it's mainly your accent that gets judged on TikTok, which again, that's just the norm. I just say that's just like a daily. If I haven't, I'm like, I haven't had a comment about my accent today. I feel like some girls are just not nice, and that's just part and parcel of what I do. You know, it'd be like if I was in an office, there's always going to be one person sitting there that probably doesn't like me, and that's okay. Not everyone has to like you. It's upsetting when it's on your character though. That upsets me because I know the person I am. So when it like anyone can like say what they want about how I look or anything, but when it's your character, that's a different level. But again, if you're not my friend, I don't think you have enough judgment on me to. You've watched like a 5-second clip and then you're like, oh, you're this, that and the other, and I think that's interesting. I've only showed you what's in home sense. It's crazy, you know. I think, wow, that's really deep. I'm only going through whatever to show
really
you.
Great life.
Yeah,
I
know. Honestly, it's mad, but gotta think it's more on them than you. So it's even like in school when you're going through, we've all been there where people like it doesn't ever stop as you get older. You just sort of learn how to deal with it, I suppose.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
What a lovely way to sort of close it and to say, like, because I think we've touched on so many amazing things.
I know, I feel like I went off on a tangent. I was like here, there and everywhere.
That's what we wanted.
Yeah.
I think we wanted to get a real insight into you as a person, as well as obviously your personal brand.
Yeah.
Personal brand obviously being all of your socials, the business that you've developed. And I think it's a really lovely insight into the person that's created it. And that's what I wanted with the podcast, to get a little bit behind, because people can follow you on all the social medias, and as I say, you do give them a little bit of you, but to find out all of your sort of morals and what it really means to you to develop this business, I think is so important.
Yeah.
Plus, you're living the dream. Plus, it's inspiring. Plus, young people can be like, yeah, I'm going to do it. I mean, always the final takeaways, people always say in the podcast is just getting the experience.
Yeah.
So experience, final takeaways would be doing work experience, social media, setting things up, going in, really putting the effort in, putting the hard work in, really, isn't it? And as you say, you've said multiple times that you've really put so much work in to get to this point to be able to live the dream.
Yeah, that's the thing. And don't forget to ask as well. Put yourself out there, ask even if it's a no. You just keep asking.
Just keep asking.
Yeah.
I love it. Ellie, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.